This is chapter 2.3, quick review, page 208. These are exercises 1 through 10. Section 2.3 in the book has to do with higher order polynomial functions. When I say that, I mean functions that are greater than linear or quadratic functions. But as the preparation for these exercises, we're going to be doing some basic factoring and solving equations. So we're going to go over odd number problems. The first one we're going to look at is factoring this polynomial to linear factors. We have a quadratic trinomial, and quadratic trinomials usually have as their factors, we're going to have two sets, and we're going to have plus or minus or something like that. Now, when we're just kind of dusting off for the year, we can go to what I call the box method for factoring. If you draw a box and separate this box into 2 rows and 2 columns, you place your squared term, in this case x squared, in the upper left box, and you put your constant term, which is negative 12, in your lower right box. And then you look for the what I call the list of factors, which I abbreviate as LOF. What are your list of factors? What numbers? We know the factors of x squared are x and x, but what numbers do you multiply together to get negative 12? Well, negative 1 times 12, negative 12 times 1, negative 2 times 6, negative 6 times 2, we have negative 3 times 4, and finally we have negative 4 times 3. And adjacent here, we're going to place another column, which is sum of factors. So if we take these two factors of negative 12 and add them together, we get negative 1 plus 12 is 11. We get negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. We get negative 2 plus 6 is 4. We get negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. We get negative 3 plus 4 is 1, and negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So which one are we looking at? We're looking at negative x. So that tells us that this last pair of factors down here, negative 4 and 3, that's what we're looking at. So we have x minus 4 on top and x minus 3, x plus 3, excuse me, there we go. So what is x times negative 4? Negative 4x. What is 3 times x? That's 3x. So when we combine these like terms together, that's negative 4x, okay? That tells us that we have negative x. And so we have x squared, okay, that's going to be right here. So x, we have quantity x minus 4 times quantity x plus 3. And this is an internal check. We've checked it kind of as we've gone. So that's our answer to problem number 1. Next we're going to go to the odd number problem. Factor this polynomial. We have 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. And so in this instance, we have a more complicated, slightly quadratic trinomial, but we're usually going to factor this into 2 linear binomials. In fact, that's what's being asked, so we have to assume we're being asked something we can do. If we take 3x, we're going to have 3x and x, because if you multiply 3x times x, you get 3x squared. And then your last ones here, you're going to have negative factors, so you're going to use factors of 6. So I'm going to do a little quick experimentation here, and I'm going to say that we're going to try 2 negative numbers together. So we're going to put negative 2 here and negative 3. And if we multiply these together, okay, we're going to use this FOIL method here. Okay, we have 3x times x equals 3x squared. We have 3x times negative 3, we're going to get negative 9x. And then we're going to have negative 2 times x, which is minus 2x. And then we have the last one's here, which is negative 2 times negative 3, which is going to be positive 6. So these things all check out, and so we've really verified that, see, that's going to be negative 11x, those two. And I promise you that I did not rehearse this in advance. It just lucked out that way. If I hadn't been successful on that first try, I would have tried up to a few other ways and would have been able to get this right. So here we go. We box this answer off as correct. Need to look at the box here. There we go. That's a little neat. Okay, we go to the next odd number problem, which is 5. Okay, we have factor of the polynomials and linear factors. We're going to assume that we have two linear binomials. In this case, we look at, I don't know, because we look for greatest common factor first. We have x in each one of these terms, so we're going to have x times quantity 3x squared. What times x equals 3x cubed? Well, 3x squared. Minus what times x equals negative 5x squared? Well, that'd be minus 5x. And then finally, what times x equals 2x? Well, that's going to be plus 2. Okay. And then we're going to factor out this part here. Okay, we're going to have, what are your factors of 3x squared? Well, it's going to be 3x and x. And what are your factors of 2? Well, that's going to be just, and we're going to have, we have to add up to negative. So we're going to have negative 2 times negative 1 here. And we add these together. I mean, we'll try to FOIL this. We get negative 2x, and we get here negative 3x. So those both add up to negative 5x, which we need for 5x squared. So our factors, and of course we have 3x squared here, and we have positive 2 here. So our factors are going to be x times quantity. We have 3x minus 2 and x minus 1. Okay, let's go on to problem number 7. In exercise 7 through 10, solve the equation mentally. Okay, there's something in algebra we call the zero factor property. Zero factor property. Okay, the zero factor property is really very simple. It's a fancy way, an official academic way of saying that translation, anything times 0 equals 0. That's all it's saying. So that means that if for this, for x times quantity x minus 1 to equal 0, either x can equal 0 or x minus 1 can equal 0. Okay, and it says solve the thing mentally, right? And so the first one I'm going to cheat and kind of lay it out. But so x equals 0, that's going to be one of our solutions. And then if the other equation, if we add 1, we have x equals 1. Okay, we gave instructions about here solving the equation mentally. This is not a mental solution, but the principle is the same. So we're going to do more strictly mentally for the next odd number problem, which is 9. Well, here we have x minus 6 has to equal 0, so x can equal what? Negative 6. X for this factor here, x plus 3, x to equal 0, x has to equal negative 3. And this last one, x minus 1.5, x is going to be equal to plus positive 1.5. Okay, so those would be all of our odd number problems. Good luck on the even number problems. And I thank you for viewing. Bye now.